Welcome to the second in this video series that looks at how to write IELTS Task 2 essays. In the first video that you've seen, we looked at what opinion essays are. There is a second kind of essay that I've identified, and it's what I call a discussion and opinion essay. Let's have a look at some of the features of it. A discussion and opinion essay sometimes has a fact, but always has two arguments. Let's have a look at an example discussion and opinion essay question. Many people today believe that there should be fixed punishments for specific crimes. However, others are of the opinion that this approach is inappropriate. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Before we continue, what do you think about this issue? Do you think that, yes, there should be specific punishments? Or do you think, it's case by case? The judge should have the flexibility to choose the kind of punishment he wants to give. Well, that's what we'll write about. Look again at this first sentence. Many people today believe that there should be fixed punishments for specific crimes. Is this presented as a fact or an argument? Many people today believe. They believe. It's an argument, it's not a fact, it's just a belief of people. However, others are of the opinion that this approach is inappropriate. Notice they're of the opinion. That's their opinion, it's an argument. In this case, we don't have a fact, we just have two arguments presented. And now we're asked to discuss both of them and give our point of view. Of course, the first step before writing anything is to come up with a plan. We need 4 ideas, 2 for each body paragraph. I need to now think of 2 points favouring the first argument and 2 points favouring the second argument. Here's what I thought for my first argument. I've decided that mandatory sentencing, or fixed punishments, can make the justice system stronger. My second point is that it makes the justice system fair. I'll show you what I mean by that soon when we look at my paragraph. For my body 2, the second argument, my 2 ideas are these. The particular circumstances should be considered, and the motivation should be considered. The way to write an introduction for these kinds of essays is firstly to paraphrase what they give you. In this case, they gave us 2 arguments, so we need to paraphrase them. Look at how I've paraphrased the first argument. Some people argue that mandatory sentencing should be used in some criminal cases. If you don't know what mandatory sentencing means, it means the same thing as fixed punishments. Now, I have to paraphrase the second half. However, others believe that adopting this kind of system is not the best course of action. I say, this essay will discuss both points of view. Or I might say, this essay will discuss both arguments. At this point you might be wondering, do I need to give my opinion in the introduction? Now some teachers say yes, some teachers say not really. I think maybe just to be safe we should. So how can we actually do it? Well, let's have a look. My opinion was that adopting this kind of system was not the best course of action. So instead of saying others believe, I could change it to I believe, I would argue, or I am of the opinion that adopting this kind of system is not the best course of action. What if my opinion is actually the first argument? Well, instead of saying some people argue, I could say I would argue, or I'm of the opinion that, or I believe that. So just take out the others believe and the some people and put in yourself. And that's the way you can put your opinion in the introduction. So now my final introduction is this. Some people argue that mandatory sentencing should be used in some criminal cases. However, I would argue that adopting this kind of system is not the best course of action. This essay will discuss both points of view. Time now to look at my body paragraph 1. I need to start, as always, with a topic sentence, and the topic sentence structure I use here is taken from my vocabulary video, the 5th in this series. So if you need help with topic sentences, it's in the 5th video. You can find the structure I'm using for this one. Let's read my topic sentence now. There are a number of benefits associated with using fixed punishments for crime. So, I'm telling my reader, this paragraph will be about benefits. Have a look at the 2 benefits that I now list. Firstly, or first benefit, mandatory sentencing can make the justice system stronger, especially when judges are seen to be consistently making decisions that are too lenient. I want to expand on this now because I should always have 2 sentences for each point. Occasionally, judges do not factor in the expectations of the community, particularly in response to violent sex or repeat offenders. Before we continue, let's just explain lenient. Now, for example, if I commit a crime like a murder and a judge says, "That's terrible, you will get 2 years in prison." That's a pretty soft punishment. It's what I would call leniency, or the judge was lenient to me. Now, often in the Australian community where I live, people feel like judges are too soft on criminals. So mandatory sentencing or fixed punishments sometimes helps people to feel like, yes, it's making the judges give the right decision because right now they're too weak. So that's my first argument. Let's have a look at my second argument. Secondly, mandatory sentencing is considered fair by many people. Let's explain why it's fair. Oftentimes, the public complains that the rich are given special treatment or that the poor are treated harshly. Fixed punishments could be the answer to these problems. The idea here is, of course, rich people can get good lawyers and get very lenient sentences or not be punished at all, whereas poor people can't afford a good lawyer and so they're punished more severely. They get harsher punishments. So that's not fair. Therefore, if we have fixed punishments, it will be fair for everyone. Everyone will be equal. So they were my 2 arguments supporting this first side. When I write this essay, I actually believe fixed punishments are bad. I've looked at the good points, but I don't actually fully agree with this argument. I'm going to now show you why I believe it's a bad thing. Remember, in my opinion essay, I started my second body paragraph with the word however, to show a contrast and to show that the second body paragraph has more power and that it's my opinion, it's stronger. I'm going to use exactly the same structure for this kind of essay. Begin with however, and then give my topic sentence. However, mandatory sentencing is not always the correct response to problems in the justice system. Notice I'm telling my reader that this paragraph is about how it's not the correct response. Here's my reasons why. First reason, the particular circumstance of a crime or criminal should never be ignored. Here's an example of what I mean. For example, if a wife has been abused by her husband for many years and one day she snaps and kills him, the justice system should have enough flexibility to treat her differently to someone who murders in a cold and calculating manner. Here's my second point about motivation. Motivation is another key aspect that needs to be factored in when punishing crime. Crimes motivated by greed and power should be judged more harshly than those motivated by desperation or necessity. There you go. My argument is that Before, I said, yes, some people consider it fair, but actually it's not fair. No two cases are the same. That was my argument here. So now it's time to give my conclusion, and I'll repeat what I said. I'll look at the first body paragraph, and then I'll confirm that the second body paragraph is actually my opinion. In conclusion, although there are some benefits related to fixed punishments, on closer examination, flexibility is critical to having a truly fair justice system. Therefore, I believe that factoring in circumstances and motivation are critical if true justice is to be handed down. This conclusion is a little different from the opinion essay conclusion that we looked at in the previous video. Notice that there are two sentences, the second sentence ending in therefore. I'll show you why I've used two sentences here and not one. This structure can be used as a kind of strategy if you feel like you are short on words. Let's say you feel like, I think I'm only on 210 words now and I'm already at the conclusion. I need more than one sentence. This is a structure you can use to do that. Let's have a look closely at what I did here. In conclusion, although there are some benefits related to fixed punishments, that was paraphrasing my body paragraph 1 about the benefits. I just said there are some. Now, on the other hand, on closer examination, flexibility. In other words, everything to do with my body 2 paragraph. Flexibility is critical to having a truly fair justice system. There you go. Firstly, I've paraphrased my body 1 and body 2, but I haven't given my opinion yet. Now remember, the original question had 2 arguments and then said discuss both views and give your opinion. Well, in my conclusion here, I've discussed both views already in my conclusion, but it's not done. I have to now give my opinion. So I like to use the word therefore and simply give it. Say, I believe. Therefore, I believe that factoring in circumstances and motivation are critical if true justice is to be handed down. Notice in this sentence, I said, I believe that factoring in circumstances, that was my first point. That was my first main point of the second body paragraph. And motivation, that was my second point. So in that sentence, I'm literally just paraphrasing the main points of what I already said. Remember, please say, I believe in your conclusion. That way the examiner will know that you've answered the question fully. This conclusion was a bit long. It would be okay just to say, although this side, I believe the other. That's actually fine. This one is just a bit of a longer structure. So there were the points from body 1, the points from body 2. Therefore, I believe body 2. That's the end of the video. The next video is about discussion essays. I'll see you there.